Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Witch Watch Season 1, Episode 18. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. The first part, we are, Nico, Cuckoo, and Morihito are helping out Kara because we find out that apparently being priest kind of runs in their family because her dad's a Shinto priest. So it's like, oh, interesting. And they're making, oh god, what were they called again? Shide papers, and Nico was bringing them to life because if you cut them into animals and they temporarily will move around and come to life, but you can't like make life until Kara accidentally, she tried to make one into the form of a bird and ended up kind of making it in the form of a person, and so it ends up becoming just a living Shikigami, which is interesting because like Morihito brings up like, oh, what was it Ebno Seme? It was like, oh, he could control all these different Shikigami, and I was like, huh, interesting, because if you're unaware, there's an anime currently airing named Omio Kaiten Rebirth Verse that has a character named Seme, and it involves Shikigami coming to life and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, interesting. So I guess that's like based on like maybe like Shinto Buddhism mythology, maybe. Or just Shinto Buddhism in general, sorry. Maybe that's also pulled from. It never correlated in my head that there probably is some like Japanese like folklore or religious stuff like baked into that. I just never thought about it until that. I was like, oh, interesting. Either way, I love that Kara's like, what do I do? I'm not supposed to have pets here. Since you guys brought it to life, you should take it to Morihito's place. And Nico just kind of like guilting her, like, wow, if you weren't ready to take, it's kind of messed up. She's like, if you're not ready to take responsibility, you should never done this. It's like, I didn't know this was going to happen, so like, stop trying to guilt me into it, and they abandon her, and she's kind of stuck with the Shikigami. But it becomes like a pet, and she's like, oh, Shikigami are basically like familiar, so just like Morihito and the others protect Nico, you're kind of doing the same thing for me. It's actually really cute and adorable, and I love that Kara doesn't really question it, how she immediately recognizes and understands what it's kind of saying, even though it can't talk, it's just gestures and its whole vibe. But I think it's because like Morihito said it, that basically it's like a culmination of three different things. I think it's the location, because they were at a shrine. I think Nico's magic, and also like it's in Kara's bloodline. Like the priesthood is in her bloodline. So all of that led to that. And so she goes to school with him. He wants to take a bath with her. They're just like having fun. You know, it's really, really cute. Obviously, but he is there to protect her. There's some people trying to take some photos early on in the episode, and he like knocks them down and scares them away. But then the episode ends with like, obviously it's like, oh, you're drawing too much attention. It's going to look weird when you're just floating beside me to anyone, that's at school. It's one thing because everyone's like, oh, that must be some Nico magic. Okay, we're just moving on. It doesn't matter. It's probably a lot helpful in those situations, but just randomly out and about, it's like, oh, where could you be placed? And it's like, oh, I could be your hair clip. But the problem is she doesn't want to get the hair clip replaced. She's like, no, it's precious to me. I was like, it's got to be something from her mom, right? And so the Shikigami doesn't think much of it, and like they struggle over it, and the clip falls into the water, and Kara tries not to get mad. She's like, it's fine, but obviously it means a lot to her. So the Shikigami goes in there, and I was like, it's not going to die. Because if you notice, I didn't even notice this in the intro. If you notice, it's beside Kara in the intro. I didn't notice it until this episode, funny enough. Even though we've had this intro for quite a few episodes now, I just never noticed that. But either way, I was like, there's no way it's going to go away. Not unless like they end up making a new one. But either way, it goes into the water, and it's this whole dramatic thing. It's holding on, and it's kind of signaling her like it's going to be okay. And I love she's calling out. She's like, Shiki. The music's swelling, and it does a hard cut. It doesn't like go away like naturally. It just hard cuts because it's like, wait, you're perfectly fine. It's like, oh, Shides are like meant to be outside, and so it's like, oh, I guess because of that, like they're waterproof, so you were never going to be an issue. So yeah, got her clip back, and now it has a permanent home that it basically lays on top of her clip. So it's like, oh, like this divine hair clip she has. I was like, that's just cute. Just like another fun, cute thing to the episode. But because I think you even see it in the intro, it defending, it becomes like a barrier. So it never really came up in the episode, but I think it probably will in the future, that it becomes like a barrier for Kara in case danger comes up. I'm wondering how could she also, would she ever utilize it in other ways too, because like combining that with like maybe she learned some stuff from her dad as a like Shinto priest that she can also apply in future fights to potentially help with stuff. Or maybe it's just kind of like, hey, I can protect people, help out Nico in that regard with Shiki by my side. I don't know, just something. Didn't ever think about the fact is like any other normal humans would probably get mixed up in the fray of what's to come, but you never know, because Nico is, her and Cuckoo's friends. I mean, everyone's friend as well. So like giving the opportunity, like probably slowly arming some of the other characters around her with stuff that will probably help in the long run. So just something to kind of keep in mind going forward, but also probably play into some shenanigans in the future. I do wonder, will there be a storyline where it does sadly sacrifice itself or eventually run out of energy and Kara has to say goodbye? Especially when you tie that into like, right, she already had to say goodbye to her mom. So maybe this won't last forever, sadly. And that'll be just kind of another aspect of that, journey and grief that she has to kind of deal with again. So we'll see if this storyline goes in that direction or not. It feels like it's prime for an arc or story, like, set of stories connected to that, but maybe not. And now moving on to part 2 of the episode, just kind of a wild concept of an episode. I mean, in regard of just the fact is the show did it, but it's like something starting as a meme and then spreading like wildfire. Essentially, it starts off with Khan. I didn't get like the Torasan reference, and once again, there's a lot of Japanese references I won't get, but essentially, I guess whoever it was someone that's like, I guess, really known as a really good salesman, and they're kind of like maybe the gold standard of what it means to be like a really good salesman. And Khan is trying to sell a marble to Nico, but she's not biting, and neither will Miharu or Morihito because they're too sharp and too like frugal about their money. But then, well, the only people who are quick to like dole out cash is Khan and Keigo, so they bring him in and Khan gives him this whole speech about like how rare and amazing it is. And I've loved the subtitles just being like, this is a lie. These are all lies. Many, many lies. And, trying to like, it's really effed up, really. Like I said, it started off as kind of a meme of like, oh, I'm messing with you. I'm actually going to sell you this single marble for 3,000 yen. But it's like, because Nico's telling me just to give it to you because like Keigo was like flipping out because he's like the materialistic person inside of him. Like the materialistic greed was taking over. And he's like, I'm going to drive myself insane. But it's like, luckily he got it, made a YouTube video. Once again, I love when Keigo kind of go in his sort of like cool cringy mode where he tries to be cool. He's like, sup guys, it's Keigo, and then he's showcasing the marble and he's like, look at it, it's like there's no bubbles, look at the flame, yada yada yada, so on and so forth. But the video got the attention of one of their classmates, Rin, which we might have seen her in other episodes background, but I want to say we saw her specifically in like last episode's background. But apparently she's an influencer of what nature, I don't know. But she's like, oh, like, do you want to like, she's like, oh, I saw your marble video. Like, do you want to do a collab? And once again, he's just like, oh, you want to know more about Marbs? And so she does a video about it, which that spreads like wildfire to her followers. Then all these other influencers do it, and it's spreading up, popping up all over the place to the point Keigo's like, hey, Nico and Khan, do you want to do one on your YouTube channel? Which I just brought that up an episode or two ago where I was like, oh, like since we have some bits returning, I specifically asked about their YouTube channel. I was like, well, it's already established. It can come back up at some point in time, even though they immediately gave up on it at the end of that section of the episode. But ultimately, I love that Nico and Khan's perspective on it. It's like, why would we do that? Like, you don't get any views and neither do we. And it's like, oh, it wouldn't even really be it'd be a collaboration of who's that collaboration of like two unimportant people collabing. But then it turns out the video Keigo did about marbles is like at 160K, and then once again he explains like what happened to the point Miharu showed up being like, yo, like I can't find any at the 100 yen store, and it's like, wait, this is really spread out, and now Nico and Khan are feeling bad because they feel like they duped all these people. And then Morihito comes in because I love that as like all this like information is going wild, and these details, and then she's like, details, information, oh no, and she realized Morihito, who's very like detail oriented and all about like consuming information, that someone like him would end up getting seduced by this situation. Just because of his personality, he's taken a deep dive into this, and now he's moved on to the next level of things, because he's like, oh, you guys are still stuck on like no bubbles, you're basically a crumb at the bottom of all of this. It's like, wow, he's kind of like an authority on it now. And he's like, yeah, what it's all about now, it's like, oh, one's with bubbles without a flame. And then also Miharu shows off one of his that's like that, or was it Keigo? And I think it was Keigo that showed off his that was like that. So, and they're trying to exchange information, and it's just Kan and Nico are sinking deeper and deeper into their regrets about it. So they're like, yeah, so we kind of have to tell you. And then like Morihito yells at them for doing what they did and asking Nico, did she use her magic? She was like, no, but it just spread like wildfire. And then Morihito's like, well, that's just, he's like, social media is the new type of magic, because it's just going to spread like wildfire. And once again, I think it's just so interesting, because like it is such a true thing. For one, you never know, the most random things can become trends and a meme, but the drop off is crazy as well, because something that's a meme or a trend for a while will eventually go out. Because Morihito's like, well, we don't really have to do anything. He's like, look at these sites, these free auction sites are selling these for like exorbitant amount of money, and no one's buying them. It's like eventually it's going to die, but then it died pretty quickly, because now Keigo's getting all these comments on his channel up, like attacking him for this, to the point he has to put out an apology video. At least he's not playing the ukulele. But he's just kind of like white background, like, hey guys, I'm sorry about that. I put out some misinformation. Some other parties that were responsible are here to apologize too. And so Nico and Kan are also in suits, being like, we're sorry, we're from the Nico and Kan YouTube channel. And it's like, wow. So the Who's That collaboration ended up happening under very different circumstances. So, but yeah, like I said, it's funny that it's just like, yeah, it's a very relevant thing, will always be a relevant thing, because of like, shows you the power of influencers and how something can spread. Like even the simplest thing could be like, yo, I don't want to miss out on it. And like, ooh, this seems so cool. You get the right person being the spokesperson for it, and then you start seeing more and more people spreading that. And it's like, yeah, it is really fascinating. I wonder, did Rin ever catch any flack, considering like she was the next cog in all of this? Considering Keigo had to, but it's probably because Keigo is probably, they probably consider him the start of all this, and then Ren probably won't. I mean, she's cute, so she's probably able to kind of skate by that. There might be a deeper commentary there or something like that. It's like, oh, if you're, if people like you enough and you're cute enough, and people probably like, pretty privilege is a thing where it's just like, oh, if you're pretty and cute enough, you can probably skate by on some stuff, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if they're reading into it. Once again, I am the type of person who reads into way too much on stuff, so I'm like, but the fact is we never got that side of things. But I wondered, did anyone else catch flack like Keigo did or not? Or was it just Keigo because he was the originator of this, plus he's not like liked and loved like other influencers might be, so. I didn't even realize this until I went back through the episode again to realize, oh wait, what's the last line from Kan basically being like, oh, this prank went so far we had to do an apology video, which I was like, oh wow. So there's the extra layer of not only like a meme and a trend going too far, but even a prank going. It's like, oh, it was just a prank, bro. We're sorry, and kind of having to do an apology on that front. So I didn't even think about it being a commentary on that as well. And now finally moving on to the third and final part of the episode. It involves some stuff that Morihito kept from like his younger years. And then there's something he doesn't want everyone to see. And I love everyone's thoughts. Like Kan's like, oh, it must be something perverted. Miharu's like, oh my god, it must be some crappy manga you drew. Nico's like, oh my god, was it a love letter? And then ends up being Miharu was right. It was a manga that he drew. And it's like, to be fair, I think like it must be obviously a very popular thing in Japan, but I mean, I remember being young and the whole like wanting to draw Dragon Ball Z. I never conceptualized it at a young age because I was obsessed with Dragon Ball Z. Like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z hit me at the right age. I was in elementary school when it came out here in the US, specifically on Toonami. But like I remember me and some of my friends who were into that would like draw and stuff like that, mainly tracing on my part because I sucked at drawing, but and I never conceptualized drawing or wanting to like make it a manga. And I'm sure that's probably a lot more prominent thing in Japan. But I'm sure other people did it when it just came to like, you know, Western comics and stuff. But it's funny considering like, well, here I am as an adult with ideas and wanting to make my own manga and stuff like that. So it's interesting. But either way, he shows off his drawings and he doesn't want anyone to see it. But apparently it's like, yo, he really went pretty deep on it, because it's like, yeah, they're 10 pages and there's like 72 chapters, and everyone's actually reading part of it being like, oh man, there's like some of this cool action in this first part. It's like, oh, look at these designs, this and that aspect of it. It's like, he's like, wait, how far into this are you guys reading? But, you know, Nico gives him an opportunity, like, oh, like, to jump into this world, which I was like, hey, is this about to be an isekai episode? Which I even love that line from Morihito, I believe. He was like, is this one of the safe ones, one of the safe spells? But obviously, like usual, it goes haywire. And it sadly doesn't become an isekai episode. I do believe in the first opening for the show, there is a section of an opening that shows like Morihito in what appears to be a manga style, but it's in the television. So this episode must be in reference to that. But like, once again, it's not the isekai situation you thought it would be. But either way, it's interesting. Kara comes over being like, oh, what's going on? And she finds everyone in these like very like, obviously stylized after the drawings, except poor Khan, who took after like, what was it, that wood drawing picture, the scary detail one, which I love that Morihito's like, wow, like I mean, this actually ended up being pretty good. I actually got first place for this one. And it's like, don't praise your drawing style while I'm stuck looking like this. You guys get to be like cute paper 2D, and I get to look creepy and scary in the way that I do. It's actually very reminiscent of the first episode when Nico kind of turned like almost like slim like paper and kind of got blown away. So I actually expected that. So for them to be like, actually it's just the drawings that get blown away, but like we need every single page to reverse the spell, so they have to chase after it. And there's actually something cute, especially with like the way they move, especially how that's like animated, where it's just like, it's like they're cutouts that are being like moved on the screen. Like it has that type of animation to it, which I think is cute, because even Kara's like, you look like you're out of a comedy manga with no tension at all, which obviously is kind of a wink nudge nudge, considering like this has some of that, you know, elements to it as a manga and anime, I'm sure. But well, obviously on the anime front, but I'm sure that's just as true in the manga as well. But and so I love that Kara's takeaway too is like, you guys rushing off on your own, and she's like, I have to be the one to chase after you. It looks like I'm the one that actually is a spellcaster in this situation. It's actually, but once again, just them, because they're not like life size, they're like short size. So like, I mean, because they got the proportions of kind of the character models from the manga, but it's just seeing them like run, and even it's super cute when Keigo turns into wolf, and even she's like, oh my god, that's actually super cute and adorable. But they find the one page, but then they also notice like, oh my god, there's a robbery. I'm like, I love that you guys keep finding yourself. Like literally last episode, you were in some like spell shenanigan and found like someone was in danger. Like you saved someone. This time you're actually stopping an actual crime while stuff is going down. So it's a little different, but still, you know, I love that you're in these middle of these spellbound situations and you're saving the day. You're going to become neighborhood heroes, but I love that like they combined with it, merged Southern Cross, broke into the place. I love that. I guess Morihito still has some of his powers, even if he is, because I thought the shenanigans would be like, oh, he tries to break through the glass, it doesn't work. Nope, it works. I thought he tries to punch the criminal, it's not going to work. Nope, it works. And so they knocked the criminal out, saved the day. The person who got saved, we didn't even see her reaction to the fact that she's getting saved by paper people. Once again, people in the neighborhood start asking questions, because in general, we don't know what they know. Like, because the guy from last episode was like, oh my god. And he saw all of them being what they are. And then, like, they're admitting, like, oh, I'm a Tengu, I'm an ogre, I'm a werewolf. And then the guy's with them laughing, ha, 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 ha. And then just moves on, right? So I was, you know, enough shenanigans happens in this neighborhood, eventually it's going to draw a lot of attention. Maybe, maybe not. But it's got to at this point in time with everything that's happened. But obviously, when it's all said and done, they got the paper back, they reverted it. But for Morihito, this was actually kind of a dream come true because he's like, I remember why I started drawing manga in the first place. I didn't really have any friends, and so it was kind of his outlet, especially because he's like, I actually got to perform one of the techniques from this, and the Southern Cross is only possible with two other people. And it's like, I have friends now that I got to experience that with and got to do that with. So it's almost like making it speaks volumes for his childhood self, and it's like, yeah, it's really adorable, and it's just kind of like a nice reminder, stark reminder of all the people around him, the friends he made. He probably never thought he was ever able to have friends outside of Nico, especially when Nico moved away. Like, he didn't really have anyone beyond that. So nice, cute ending. Obviously, stinger being that Khan's the only person who didn't get turned back to normal. Something I also wanted to comment on, and I'd actually let this slip my mind for a second, was before Nico did the whole kind of suggesting I'm going to isekai you guys into this manga of Morihito's, I was actually thinking her aha moment was going to get Morihito's show them to Cuckoo and have her draw it, kind of spruce it up more. But then I was like, I had to but sitting here I reminded myself, Cuckoo, no one knows that she does that. At least I don't think no one does, right? Yeah, because that's just her and Yuki's secret. So definitely on the Yuki front. But I don't think anyone knows, because Cuckoo has her own online handle and stuff like that. So no one knows what she does. I can't remember if Nico and Kara know. They do, don't they? I believe they do. But I mean, I don't remember. I don't know if the others know that she does that. I'm actually blanking. Cause sworn they were part of those conversations. Now I'm letting that slip my mind. I'm sorry. But I feel like that's still a potential storyline in the future where they can spruce up and, funny enough, bring Morihito's manga to life in a different fashion than this, obviously, but kind of spruce it up a little bit more and do a little more with it. And I think that kind of, his childhood dreams have already kind of come true in the capacity of, he has friends now and stuff like that, so he doesn't need the manga like he did to be the outlet when he was younger. But I think you could still make it, still dreams come true type of thing of maybe publishing it in some capacity in the future. That could be a future storyline. I'm excited to see where everything takes us going forward to the next episode. I caught glimpses of the preview. At least part of the next episode is going to revolve around Morihito and his mom. So that's probably going to be very, somewhat somber, probably sentimental episode. Probably very similar to the Kara episode where we learned about her mom. So that's going to be interesting to kind of see what, learn a little bit more about Morihito's mom maybe, and kind of find out what her personality is. Interesting timing too, because another character's, I was watching something else this week revolving around a character's deceased parent. So which doesn't narrow it down too much, because once again, anime manga riddled with deceased parent or parents, so. But either way, that's really all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.